And I was interested in talking about your job as producer on different shows.
Uh-huh.
Like specifically the Smothers Brothers show in 1968.
With Glen Campbell?
With Glen Campbell, yeah. Now, were you the de facto producer of the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour? Or?
No, I was a de facto producer.
Mm-hmm.
The producer. We had 3 different producers during the time.
Right.
I was executive producer, and then I never did do a line producer credit on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when in '68 on the summer, I took the producer position and produced it.
So why did you do that?
Because I'm a meddler.
Yeah.
During the comedy hour, I think I had 4 different directors. I was in the directing booth, and I got my DGA card, and I was sitting there telling them how to direct and what pictures to take. And I was just a pain in the ass.
Well, you get to be that when you're the talent, right?
Well, if some people choose to, Carol Burnett in those days, they didn't really want to develop any products. I mean, other projects beside themselves. And they worked very hard on their sketches, and that's, I guess, why they were so good at it.
Right.
I never did learn my lines. Busy running around telling someone to look in the camera, or I didn't like that shot, or working with the writers on other people's material. So I was lax in my own performance thing for those early shows. And when I liked those, I liked the shows we did in 88, 89,
mm-hmm.
and the 75, I think it was, with Joe Hamilton was the producer for the...
Right.
And then I finally got him to leave. I couldn't ask for a reshoot unless they would take it out of my pay. I couldn't have a writer's meeting without an okay from him. They would never let me get with the writers. And so I just slowly and just kind of was a little rude to him quietly. He could finally fucking... And the show started off like number 5 in the ratings.
Yeah, it was huge.
Huge, and it just went right down. I knew it was going to go down. He said, see? He said, man, they're not going to buy it next. And each week it just dropped. Because it was just vacuous crap. So we shut it down for... Hilo says, you can have the show. And it was...
Was it 4 episodes to go?
Yeah. We stopped on the 24th of February, 75.
Mm-hmm. So that would be pretty soon after it debuted.
No, it was at the 420. We stopped at the 3rd of March, and we started up at the April 28th, and did 1, 2, 3, 4 shows, and they were just incredible.
They were. I remember those shows.
And it was just like they were placed at a different time slot. We were killed. They just about picked it up. And it was like the first show was Linda Ronstadt, Hoyt Axton, and Don Novello. The second one was really great with... this Hoyt Axton was just incredible. Father Guido Sarducci.
Right.
And the next one was Florence Henderson and Pat Paulson, Einstein, Kendra LaSalle, who read the piece... And then the best one, one was with Chris Christopherson, Rita Coolidge, Don McLean, Arlo Guthrie.
Ringo Starr, I think, was in...
Ringo Starr was the last one with Lily Tomlin, Jon Stewart, Ringo Starr, Pat Paulson.
What a great show.
Oh. And the shows just had a real, nice little edge to them that the other ones were so vacuous.
And you were fully producing those 4 shows, correct?
Oh yeah. Only 4 writers stayed.
From the old group, from the...
Everybody left. It was Don Novello. I got done half of my writing list here, and a really good. We brought in a different director, Peter. Italian. God, I don't have all these notes. I should have got notes for you.
Oh, that's okay. That's all right.
They were so delicious, those shows, and then it just dropped it, and we didn't have another show for really
till the CBS.
Well, we did in between, we did like 4 one-hour adventure universes.
Right, that's right. In, I think, 1980, wasn't it?
Yeah, Fits and Bones.
Right, Fits and Bones.
And that was kind of bad.
Now, how did you convince the network to let you take over for those last 4 shows? Or
They didn't have anything to fill with,
But you just weren't going to do the last shows if you didn't have control over them? And
No, I'd have had to do them.
yeah.
I'd have had to do them, but I kind of slowly broke Joe Hamilton's spirit.
Did you have a good relationship going in with him?
No, it wasn't even going in. Before we started the show, I was told that was by William Morrison. You guys, if you're dead in the water, this is very important. Take the show. It's Joe Hamilton produced a Carol Burnett show. This is blah blah. You should take it. I said, and the conditions were unbearable, but they said this is very important. Things can change. It's a big hit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a guest spot on the Carol Burnett, and I saw all the writers and stuff they were putting together. And about 8 weeks before the show, we weren't even in full production or anything. I begged him. I said, please, let's not do this. Let's just abort it. He said, no, we're doing it, and you're going to do what you're told. So that was it, and I just slowly... And as the numbers went down, he saw it. He saw it was a hit, and it was ending up at a flop, and he said, okay, goodbye. And we had a good network alliance connector there that was working for BC at the time.
Right.
And he was a big fan, and he was the one who made sure that we could shut down and start again. And it was just 99% picked up, and just about. But it was just great shows, man. I played the Chris Christopherson and the Ringo Starr one every once in a while. Lily Tomlin just left my hand.
Well, yeah, and I point out that just a few weeks later and a few hours later on the same network, Saturday Night Live debuted and really had that same sort of edgy humor.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, had you been allowed to continue, you probably would have brought that to prime time, which nobody really was able to do.
And no one has.
No one has.
Isn't that amazing? I just read a great line. We're at Aspen, the U.S. Comedy and Arts Festival at Aspen this last year they have every year, and we're doing a thing on free speech. It was George Carlin and I and Dick Gregory and Bill Maher. And my wife was searching the network on First Amendment thing, and there was a great line, and I don't even know who said it. And he says, you know what this country needs is what this country needs is more free speech that is worth listening to. Isn't that great?
That's absolutely true.
Because then we're hearing fuck, we're hearing sexual stuff, we're hearing bad language, we're hearing rudeness, but not any content at all.
Right, no discourse, no exchange of thoughts.
Yeah, right. We had on these shows, we had some great things. We attacked the oil companies. This one with Florence Henderson and one was a blah blah, and there's one with Hoyt Axton where Don Novello, Father Saducci had this confessional box. He used it as a runner through the show, and one of them was he's sitting in his confessional box, and there's 5 voices that forgive us, Father, for we have sinned, we are the oil companies. And it was right after some big oil spill, and it was very funny.
Any chance that those shows will turn up for reruns, or who owns them?
We do.
Yeah.
But what happens is, and with the shows in '88, what we liked a lot too, the guilds are a real problem.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to the sitcoms, I mean, there's buyouts there, so every time you play you have to make all kinds of deals.
Right.
And then that with the original shows, which were great because of the time, you know, the venue, time frame they were in, because it was such a volatile time.
Right.
But the shows don't hold up in historical fashion like these later shows, which were not the same hit. Interesting enough.
Yeah, well, I think somebody has to create a context for it, really.
Yeah,
I'm hoping to try to do that, you know. That's part of what I'm trying to do is educate people and point them towards some of the quality that maybe they missed.
You sound a little bit like, you know David Dean Cooley?
No, I don't.
He wrote that, a great book called Television IQ or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But he's talking about the smart television and the good shows and
Right.
the here and there. And it's a God, I wish I had the book with me. I'd give it just worth a read to, because it might give you some ideas.
I'll look for it. Can I ask you about the reunion special in '88?
Yeah, sure.
Well, for me, that special was so superbly produced that I thought it was a shame that you had to show the old clips because the new material was so strong.
Mm-hmm. We just saw little clips to put, like Hartford and Glen Campbell in perspective, there was not a whole lot of old clips in it.
Right.
Just a few, but the guy was a great opening.
It really was. That's right. The helicopter over CBS.
I told you they'd have us back. 20 years later, this is it doesn't matter when. I told you they would take it over.
And well, you brought back that. Now Lee French. What does she do? Now, I loved her. I was crazy about her when I was.
She does Foley's and voiceover stuff and commercial things.
Oh, really?
In television, so she's still working around. But
well, you unleashed a stable of talent, really, that went on to change the face of television there. And
it was pretty good. Kind of thing. We only had 2.5 seasons of the first show.
Right.
One season. I think we've only been on total in 30 years since we've been doing television, like 4 seasons.
It's a lot of quality there, though. I mean,
when we left CBS, ABC took us up.
Right, for the summer show, which I never got to see because they didn't show that where I was growing up.
It was a struggle.
Yeah.
It was a struggle, but we did some funny things there. We had a poet's corner where the songwriter performers were on, and we did 4 shows without an audience, and a live minor bird that everybody talked to, like saying the word was heavy, far out.
Right.
And it was a live mic on, and the bird never fucking talked. and then my brother gave it to a friend of his, and the thing started talking like crazy. It was too young a bird, but it was a good idea.
Who produced that show?
I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh. Now, Pat Paulson had just had a show on ABC earlier that year.
With Bob Einstein.
Right.
Called Half a Comedy.
Which I thought was fantastic. I love that. I don't know, that your brand of humor that you sort of spawned, I really, really enjoyed.
I thought that show that Paulson did was a little vacuous.
Well, I was 14 years old, so I was...
Yeah, it didn't have that edge. It was Einstein. Bob was the producer, Super Dave.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think he served him well.
Really?
Paulson, in fact, the only time he ever did well was when we had a show, we'd bring him back, and all of a sudden there he is running for president.
It was hilarious. Yeah, you always hit the right timing, didn't you?
We always had really good writers writing stuff for him. It was smart stuff. Like he said, the freedom of speech, he says, no big deal about freedom of speech? It's freedom of hearing. Freedom of speech, you can sit naked in the closet and say anything you want. Well, nobody hears you, so it's freedom of hearing that's important.
Do you think it hurt you in 70, the summer show that you were after the Everly Brothers? Do you think that?
I don't. I kind of lost a sense of humor there for a while, like particularly that summer show. I also did an Access show.
Right. Now, I read an interview where you said you were offering the censored CBS show into syndication, and no one took it, right? But that was a pretty radical idea at the time.
Oh yeah.
I mean, nobody had done that before, had they?
Done that, and also, but one of the William Morris people said, the head of William Morris says, Tom, you violated the rights of kings. What do you mean? He said, well, we were going to sue ABC, CBS, and NBC, all of them, on a First Amendment clause and stuff. And he said, you violated the rights of kings. You can't do that. And of course, none of the affiliates and stuff were going to touch us because Nixon was coming down on to the FCC on everybody. Well, I sure wish I could. I just keep hoping that one of those Nixon tapes will be because I know he hated this.
That would be great, and to see how things are turning out today, which is almost it's almost like it's rerun season with our government today.
Well, there's nothing being said. Everybody said, "Don't you wish you were on television? I can say anything you want." I said, "Well, nothing's being said."
Nothing's being. Yeah, no, I don't think you really could.
No, 4-letter words. I said the last show that was ever in prime time that political satire was the Smothers Brothers.
Yeah.
35 years ago, and people do not see that. They have an illusion that everything is really free, but everybody's self-censoring, basically.
Well, if you talk about satire on television, really there was only the Smothers Brothers, and maybe that was the week that was, and very, very little other before or since.
And the other step of when it was the satire was on the fringes, the Saturday Night Live and CTV.
Right.
But even today, any political satire is being done at 11:30, 12. The numbers are not big.
Right.
I love Dennis Miller.
Yeah, he's hilarious. And The Daily Show, I think, is really funny.
The brightest of them all.
Just incredible. Oh, absolutely, no question about it.
Yeah, there's intelligence there, and he doesn't stoop like Dennis Miller. All of a sudden, a second, he'll be doing a wonderful rage on something, and all of a sudden, cocksucker. I go, what's he doing? He's
pandering.
He's pandering to the Gen X or something like that. That doesn't even sound natural if I can say it, but he doesn't.
We have an article on Bette Davis's TV career, and you worked with Bette Davis.
Oh, yeah.
How was she to work with at that time?
She was right at the time that second time we had her on the show. I was, it was our first
season
show,
and
I had we'd have a dress rehearsal, and then we'd go to these meetings and say, well, that didn't work, this worked, and that didn't work, and change this, and I couldn't tell because I was in it, so we'd take the tape and put it, I'd have a reel-to-reel small recorder, transfer it down, in between shows, I'd looking at it, just going fast forward where I thought the problems were, and many times there was a disagreement, and they said, you're emasculating the director and the producers, and you can't do this, and then CBS said, oh, you have to bring a union guy in to run the machine, and Bette Davis was going through this thing right at that time, and Bette said, don't you give up, make sure you know what you're doing, and she was that kind of person herself.
Right.
And she said, you're doing the right thing. That don't let anybody tell you you're the one that's going to make the taste, because you're up there. And I loved that about her. And that was about Sinatra, too. There's certain people that just, and Roseanne, too. You know, the series that make it are the ones that have a lot of strong opinions, and they're doing it their way. Even Seinfeld,
right.
You know, they did it their way. And I've seen so many good stars, Martin Mull was really good.
Great talent, yeah.
And he got a sitcom, and of course I called him and said, because we were getting ready to do one, I thought. And I said, what do you have any? He said, don't let them put kids in. They put one kid in, they put a dog in, they put two kids in, then you lose your edge.
Well, the Carol Burnett reunion special was a huge hit on CBS, and now I'm sure they're beating down your door right now. I mean, they should.
It was like it was just about a done deal, and then it just went away. Just about went away. In fact, Jeff Margolis, a director, producer guy, they said they're going, and William Morris said they're going, and the word was out that it was a set deal, and it just went away. And I don't know if it's a political climate or what, but
God, I'd hate to think that that's true, but that would almost be the only reason you could think.
Now they're looking about putting together a Sonny and Cher retrospective with Cher.
Right.
And
well, that's a natural then.
They're doing it, thinking about it, Cheers and some other things like that. And but the first instinct was I got 4 calls from different people saying, "Hey, do you see the Carol Burnett numbers, man?"
30 Cher.
Yeah. And boom, this should have been done by now.
Well, it will be, I'm sure.
Yeah, it would have been nice because we're at the twilight of her career. It'd be nice to have a little bump there and have some fun.
Do you mind if I use screen captures from some of your shows to illustrate the article? I'll actually send you the article before it's run, and you can review it.
Fun.
Yeah.
No problem.
Did you ever work with Brother Dave Gardner, comedian?
No, I knew him, and I loved his albums.
Yeah. My business partner has a website on Brother Dave, and so I always ask everybody if they worked with Brother Dave, because nobody ever has any information on him at all.
No, well, he didn't do much television, did he?
Yeah, Jack Parr show, I think, was about them. The only thing.
Oh, you remember Mom's Mapley?
Oh, yeah.
We had her on.
Oh, I think she's probably the funniest comedian of all time, really.
She does. I kept thinking, is she a man pretending? Hey, where's your Dumbo brother?
Well, if there's anything you'd like to plug, because I'm going to put credits at the end of the book, then I'll plug your website or whatever. You can have Wendy send it to me by email.
You've been on our website, haven't you?
Yeah, I love it. You guys actually were one of the first entertainers to actually try to do something on the internet to communicate with people, right?
Well, if there's any other, you got my number. If anything comes up, I don't remember this. There's this director that directed those last shows. It came from it came from one of those. He came out of Philadelphia. Peter Calabrese.
Peter Calabrese. He's a very famous director.
He was a director, and then he went into programming and wanted to be a producer. He should have stayed a director. God, he was talented.
Well, that's the great thing about Hollywood. You work to the top of your craft, and then you go beyond it. And
Right to your Peter Principle.
That's right. Thanks so much for talking to me, Tom. I really appreciate it.
Okay, if you get any other ideas, please call.
Thanks very much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.